things while I'm gone, too. Hello, Joe. Hello, Fred. Didn't know you boys could read. Hello, Connie. How's your paw? Come on out.
Whiskey. What'll it be, boys? Bob Ford's buying. Have a drink, Major.
I don't drink with rats. Watch out, Major. No danger. The Fords only shoot at backs.
You trying to make trouble?
No, but if I had my way...
You had your way. You and your stinking paper did everything you could to hang us, didn't you? Well, we're free now. We got the reward money. There isn't a thing you can do about it.
Oh, come, gentlemen. Let bygones be bygones. The James case is a closed issue.
Not by a gosh dang sight it ain't. And it won't be closed till Jesse's blood is paid for. Every dad blasted drop of it. Your hands ain't any too clean either, Runyon.
Mine? What have I done? As an officer employed by the railroad, naturally
Don't pay any attention to the old buzzard. Talk. That's all he can do.
Yeah, that's about all I can do. But those James boys are mighty peculiar. Mighty peculiar. Jesse's gone, that's true. Maybe Frank's gone, too. And then again, maybe he ain't. The boys always had a mighty peculiar way of turning up just when you least expected them. Mighty peculiar.
What are your plans?
I'm going out west to see a friend of mine.
When?
Now.
Now, read it back to me, Roy.
If we're ever going to have law and order in this part of the country, we got to take vipers like those Fords and that slimy railroad detective Runyon and shoot them down like dogs.
Right. Now, paragraph. Furthermore, we've got to abolish the pardoning power. Hey, better go back and get your supper, Roy.
Yes, sir.
Come in, Frank, come in. Come in. I figured you'd be along this way soon, but you're a wee bit late.
Late? Ain't they here?
No, they're gone out of town a few hours ago. Yeah, get away from this window. Now, come on, sit down and tell me all about yourself and your folks. Here. Have a drink.
Family's all right. They're in Kansas City.
Yeah?
About me, there ain't nothing to tell. I've been hiding out down the Ozarks farming. Heard about Jesse.
Frank, it was the dirtiest, rottenest, sneakingest that ever was. Oh, Jesse may have had killing coming to him. I ain't denying that. But to be shot in the back by a couple of fellas that was like brothers to you, with a weapon you'd give him yourself.
I know, but about this pardon.
All part of the same piece. McCoy put the Fords up to the killing, then got him the pardon and the reward.
McCoy, huh? Got no idea at all where the Fords went to?
None whatever, except they took the cars west. What you aiming to do?
Sure like to meet up with Bob and Charlie. Old friends of mine, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Well, be moving along.
Well, good hunting, Frank.
I'll let you know where I am.
Right.
Good night, Major.
Hold on, son. Very good. Get out them obituaries of the Fords and set 'em up in type.
Yes, sir.
Pinky, what are you doing here?
That boy Clem done run away.
Run away when?
Just after you left, he hopped on his horse and scat. I tried to stop him, but he nearly knocked me over. That boy's harder to hold than a handful of bumblebees. You all find what you're looking for, sir?
No, Pinky, they ain't here. They lit out for the West Summers.
Must have got a feeling. You going after him, sir?
Yeah, but not for a while, maybe. I gotta get me some money.
You ain't figuring on no robbing, is you?
No, Pinky, them days is far behind me.
Praise the Lord, Mr. Frank. Praise the Lord.
Pinky, I'm a-thinking.
About what, Mr. Frank?
It was McCoy money that put Jesse in his grave back there, wasn't it? Then ain't it fitting I use McCoy money to get the Fords?
What'd you say, Mr. Frank?
Yeah, that's right. Tomorrow's the 15th, ain't it?
Yes, it's the 15th.
St. Louis Midland pays off the 1st and the 15th. The money ought to be in the express office tonight.
Oh, Mr. Frank.
Pinky, go back to the farm right away and stay there.
Yes, sir.
And if Clem shows up, tell him I'm gonna birch the britches right off of him.
Yes, sir, Mr. Frank.
Goodbye, Pinky.
Goodbye, Mr. Frank. And God bless you, sir.
Good evening. Got a chilly for spring, ain't it?
Yeah, nip in the air. What's on your mind, friend?
I got this to send out.
Can you send it in the morning, can't you?
No, want to get it on the 4:15.
Oh, all right. Can you write?
Yes, sir, after fashion.
All right. Then fill out this blank.
Reach, brother.
I'm a-reaching.
I got a notion when I come in you was kind of sleepy. Suppose you lay down and rest a while.
Huh?
Down! Flat on your face. Now lay there still and don't let me hear a peep out of you.
You can hear nothing from me, brother. I want to be around for breakfast.
Go to sleep. I'll wake you up before I go. Get down.
Yes, sir.
Clem! What are you doing here?
I've been following you. I was watching outside, and when you didn't come out, I thought...
Fool, I almost shot you. Now get out of here and back to the farm before I skin you alive. Get! Bolt the door. Keep your eye on the watchman.
Where'd that shot go? Down here, Sid. Come on. There's a shot! Seemed to come from in there! You, get around, break that door down. A couple of you men get out of the rear.
Come on, the back way.
Come on, boys, break her down. Get in there, pick hold. All right.
Afraid?
No.
Come on.
I'm sorry about what I done, Frank. You might have been killed. Well, I guess there ain't nothing to be done about it now. They'll be wanting me, too.
I tell you, there isn't the slightest doubt about it. I know a James boy job when I see one. I ought to. I've seen enough of them. It was Frank James, and I'm offering another reward of $10,000. I'll wipe him out just like I did his brother.
Mr. McCoy, with your permission, I should like to leave at once for the West.
What for?
To see if I can locate Charles and Bob Ford.
What have they got to do with it?
If I can find the Ford boys, I've got a very good idea that Frank James will not be far behind.
Then go on, by all means.
Thank you.
There were two of them, weren't there?
Yes, Mr. McCoy.
Yeah.
One of them was Frank, but who was the other?
Frank's got a lot of friends.
Where's Jesse buried?
Just outside of town.
You can laugh if you want to, but I'm going out and have a look at that grave. I don't trust anything about those James boys.
Fine, Sonny. Where are you and your father been keeping yourself?
Old Paul got him a ranch down in Old Mexico, just below the border.
Like it down there?
Oh, fine cattle country. But you sure gotta be handy with a gun. Shooting scrapes all the time. Guess who I seen killed in a fight just before I left?
Who?
Frank James.
Has he been down there?
Yes, sir, and he's gonna stay down there, 6 feet under the ground. They must have pumped 15 slugs into him.
He had it coming to him, I reckon. Let's go and have a drink.
I need one. I'm spitting sandhills. Wait till I get my saddlebags.
So they finally got Frank.
Beer's that way.
I done all right, huh?
Fine. I once seen Booth, and he couldn't acted it better.
Thanks. You think the news will get around?
Hope so. Once the Fords find out I'm dead, maybe they'll come out of their hole, wherever they are.
Well, the Fords aren't the only ones. The Fords aren't the only ones you gotta play dead for. McCoy's got a reward out.
I know. I got a letter from the major. McCoy's got an idea I had something to do with that express job. Suspicious cuss, ain't he?
Major writes you they found out about the farm?
No.
Well, they have. McCoy's got a flock of men watching every road and cow path around there. I think it's all right, though. Pinky won't talk.
No, Pinky won't talk, but it's just as well I'm dead.
What'll it be?
Beer.
And what for you?
Make his sarsaparilla.
Right.
Now, what'd you do that for? I've tasted beer.
Mr. Woodson, sir. Lady wants to see you.
A lady?
Yes, sir. She's waiting in the parlor. Give me $50 to fetch you.
All right.
This way, sir.
Mr. Woodson?
Yes, ma'am?
I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm looking for the man who saw Frank James killed in Mexico, and they told me he was talking to you on the porch.
It was me that seen the killing, ma'am.
Oh, then it's you I want to talk to.
Just a minute, miss. Who are you, if you don't mind?
My name's Eleanor Stone. I'm a newspaper writer. I was passing the hotel, and somebody told me
Writer?
that...
You mean you write pieces for the paper?
Yes, a reporter for the Denver Star.
A lady reporter?
Mind if I sit down? It'll be easier for me to take notes.
Sure do beat all. A lady newspaper, ma'am.
Well, I'm not really and truly a reporter. Not yet. But I'm going to be. My father's the owner of the Star. Maybe you've heard of him. Randolph Stone?
Well, can't say I have, but if he owns the paper, should think he'd be doing well enough so his daughter don't have to work.
Oh, I don't have to work. And if you must know, my father's very much opposed to it. He thinks I should finish college and then sit around with my hands folded, waiting for someone to get around to marrying me. I'll do nothing of the sort. Women are awakening. They want to do things.
Down where I come from, women figure they're doing plenty, feeding a dozen farmhands and raising kids.
We can't all feed farmhands and have babies. Everybody to their taste. I want to be a newspaper woman. Now tell me about Frank James. If I can get a good story, maybe even my father will be convinced I can be a reporter. Won't you help me?
Sure, we'll help. Go ahead, tell her everything, son.
Well, it all happened about 6 weeks ago. We'd been down in Hernandez herding longhorns, and that night we went into town to do a little drinking.
A boy like you?
Ma'am, I ain't no boy. Down in Mexico, I do a man's work and a man's drinking. When we got to Whiskey Joe's, there was a drunken crowd there from another ranch, roughing things up. Frank James, oh, I've seen him a couple times before, he was up at the bar, drinking quiet and minding his own business.
You taking this down that newfangled shorthand?
Oh, no, just making notes as I would in classes. Go ahead.
So this crowd from the other ranch was whooping it up, especially the foreman, fella they call Red. Oh, like this. When a girl comes in the place, oh, a little girl, maybe 10 or 12, looking for her pa. Red makes a grab for her, and she starts crying and screaming. And that plumb annoys Frank. He comes over from the bar, and he pulls the girl away from Red and knocks him a-kicking. Right away, I knows there's going to be trouble and bush of lots. Everybody except Red's gang runs out of the place. It being none of my ruckus, I ducks behind the bar. But Frank don't scare any. He pulls his gun and stands with his back up against the bar. It's 1 against 12 or 15. Red and his crew start blazing away, and Frank's blazing right back. He knocks off 2 guys and then gets hit himself in the left arm. Well, to make it short, he finishes off Red.
Good, good. Now, tell me about Frank James. If I can get a good story, maybe even my father will be convinced I can be a reporter.
Well, it all happened about 6 weeks ago. We'd been down in Hernandez herding longhorns, and that night we went into town to do a little drinking. When we got to Whiskey Joe's, there was a drunken crowd there from another ranch, roughing things up. Frank James, oh, I've seen him a couple times before, he was up at the bar, drinking quiet and minding his own business.
Better be taking all this down, miss.
It's all right, I'll remember.
Where was I? Oh, yeah. He finishes off Red and 5 or 6 of his gang. By this time, Frank himself is leaking like a sieve. He's down on the ground, dying, but still fighting, when a slug gets him in the heart. Then the fellas that are left empty their guns into him.
Oh, the cowards.
This belonged to Frank. See, it's marked FJ. I picked it up figuring I could give it to some of his kinfolks if I ever run into him.
Oh, what a wonderful story for the paper.
Oh, yes. Wonderful story.
Thank you ever so much. Oh, I must have your name.
Grayson. Tom Grayson.
You say this happened 6 weeks ago? Then he couldn't have been mixed up in that Missouri Express robbery that I've been reading about, where a man was killed.
Oh, no. Frank had been in Mexico over a year.
Frank James never killed nobody. Of course, I ain't counting that Mexico business.
He and his brother must have been wonderfully colorful characters. I wish I could have known them. Well, I must hurry along to the paper. Goodbye, and thank you so much.
Sometimes, might have news. Could I see you?
I'd be glad to see you anytime. You'll always be able to reach me at the Star. Now.
Well, it's very good. But I still think that a newspaper is no place for a woman.
Now, dear, please don't be so severe.
Edna, don't interfere.
But, Papa, you've got to admit, this is the biggest scoop you've had in 6 months. Been telegraphed all over the country. And I got it for you.
No, my dear, you just stumbled on it. You know, that can happen to anybody.
But I do go on the payroll, don't I?
I don't know. I've got to think that over.
No, thank you.
Take the horses up by the side entrance and don't leave them. We may need them in a hurry.
You going in?
Looks like a show I ought to see.
You gonna shoot him right on the stage?
No, first I'm just gonna scare them to death.
Well, it's time I was a-leaving. Where's that dratted valise of mine?
Here it is, Father. All packed. And I didn't forget your rheumatism medicine, neither.
I hate to go leaving you alone, Nellie, but I got to. Uncle Joe's a-dying.
Don't worry, Pappy. I'll be safe. Nobody suspects the farm money's in this box. And anyhow, I know how to use this.
May God keep you safe, my daughter.
want the farm money.
Take another step and I'll shoot.
Oh, no, you won't. You know who we are?
No, and I don't care.
I'm Jesse James. This is my brother Frank. Now, do we get the money?
Over my dead body.
If that's the way you want it.
Help! 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 Help!
Why'd you do what I told you to? I wanted to see you give it to him. Where'd you put the horses? Over there in the corner.
That's one of them, Jesse.
I beg your pardon, but you're Miss Stone?
Yes?
My name is Runyon. I'm from the St. Louis Midland.
Oh, railroad police. Won't you sit down?
Thank you. I'm sorry to disturb you, but it's just a formality. I'm checking up on the death of Frank James. You wrote the story about it, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Now I'm writing the story of his life.
Oh, should be very interesting. Very. That youngster who gave you the account of the killing, tell me about him. What did he look like?
Look like? Well, he was a boy not more than 16 or so. Light curly hair, turned up nose. That's about all I can tell you.
I see. In your story, there was something about a friend who was with the boy. What did he look like?
He was a man about 29 or 30, 6 feet tall, maybe more, hard to tell. Walks with a sort of stoop. Has blue eyes and rather high cheekbones. Speaks with a slow drawl, but doesn't say much.
Yes. What did you say his name was?
Woodson. Ben Woodson.
Woodson. He here now?
No, they told me over at the hotel that he'd suddenly been called away on business. But I'm sure he'll be back soon.
At any rate, you hope so.
Yes, I do. He's most likable.
Yes. I guess women could find a certain something about Frank.
Frank?
Your friend Woodson is Frank James.
What did you say?
I said your likable friend is Frank James, outlaw and murderer.
You can't mean it.
Isn't this your friend Woodson?
But I don't understand. Why should...
It's all very simple, my dear. You see, Frank had two very good reasons for wanting to be dead. The express robbery in Missouri and his friends, the Fords.
I don't believe it. He wouldn't do that. He was so nice and helpful. You sure there's no mistake?
Oh, quite. You see, right after reading your story, I went down to the border. Nobody there had ever heard of the gunfight that boy told you about. I'm sorry, my dear. You were the victim of a very cruel hoax. You and your paper. However, all hardened criminals are cruel and vicious. You said he was coming back?
That's what they told me at the hotel, but now that the news is out...
But the news isn't out. Only the two of us know about Woodson. Well, I'll be leaving you now, but you'll hear from me very soon. And don't worry, my dear. You will have the last laugh.
Mose?
Yes, miss?
There's something I want you to do for me.
Yes, sir?
You remember that man you took the message to last week?
You mean Mr. Woodson?
Yes. Now, here's what I want you to do. He's away now, but when he comes back to the hotel, tell him not to go inside, not to talk to anybody, or to see anybody until he gets in touch with me. Understand?
Yes, sir. This Mr. Woodson ain't on no account to do nothing till he done seen you.
All right, Mose, but remember, it's important. Very, very important. And you...
Look at it, Frank. A hair. A real hair. See it? Yeah. Feel it. Feel it.
A couple more like that, and you'll need a mustache cup, son.
Hands up, gentlemen. Well, this is a real pleasure, Frank. I haven't seen you since that little affair at Northfield. Oh, come now. Don't act that way. Be sociable. How about a little of that charm you loosed on that lady reporter, huh? Oh, you're quite a storyteller, aren't you, Bub? Yeah. All right. Put on your boots and your coats, and we'll make a little call on the marshal. Come on. Guess you're wondering how I caught up with you, huh? Very, very simple. I knew that Mexican story was a fake the minute I read it. Showed a picture of you to Miss Stone, and there you are. Yes, you lawbreakers are all just about the same. Oh, some of you are smarter than others, but sooner or later you all trip yourselves.
I did good, didn't I?
Yes, son, this time you sure did.
Ooh, take a deep breath, Missy.
Boy, I just left this for you. Tell my mother I may be late for dinner. A friend of mine's ill. Going over to see her.
Yes, sir. Come in. Come in.
Come out or I'll shoot. Well, try to commit suicide, huh?
Huh?
Yeah, that's how it was. Didn't mean to lie to you, but there was nothing else I could do. I'm awfully sorry.
And you should be. Taking advantage of young girls and hanging up people in closets like raincoats. But you can't stay here. You've got to get away. If you don't, they'll be hanging you like they're hanging your friend.
Friend? What friend?
But didn't you read about it? The paper gives his name as Pinky. Pinky something or other.
What?
Here, I cut it out.
They're plumb loco. Pinky wasn't even in town when it happened. I'd send him back to the farm. They can't hang him.
He's already been found guilty and sentenced.
But he's innocent. He's as innocent as you are. Some of McCoy's work, his way of getting back at me. Pinky never so much as even stole a chicken in his whole life.
What are you going to do?
I gotta do something.
I want to talk to you.
Go ahead. You can talk in front of her.
Well, it's about Bob Ford. I found out where he is.
Yeah?
Mining camp called Creed. About 4 or 5 days' ride from here. Some fellas at the livery stable were talking about him.
Get out the horses. I'll be right with you.
All right.
So, you're going to let your friend hang after all?
What? Oh, there's nothing I can do about it now. Once I get Bob Ford, I'll...
But you'll be too late. If you'll look at the clipping, you'll see the hanging set for next week.
I know, but what can I do?
Tell me, is it more important for you to kill a man than to save the life of an innocent one?
Nothing's more important to me than getting Bob Ford. I'll send a telegram to the governor. I'll tell him Pinky's innocent. Promise to give myself up the minute I've taken care of Ford.
But anyone could send a telegram and sign your name. You've got to go yourself. Now. Frank, you can't do anything else. Killing is one thing, but letting an innocent man die.
I know, and I agree with you. But it may be my only chance. I promise you, once I get Bob Ford, I'll give myself up. Goodbye, Eleanor.
Come in. Oh, so it's you. Close that door and sit down. I've got a few things to say to you, young lady.
All right, Papa. Get it over with.
Uh-huh. I suppose you realize you've made me and the star the laughing stock of the country.
I'm sorry.
No, I suppose you think that takes care of everything.
Other papers have made mistakes.
Yes, but none of them have made the mistake of having a gullible female on their staff and trusting her. None of them have... You saw that interview with Runyon in the Globe this morning, didn't you?
Yes, I saw it.
Uh-huh. It's all true, isn't it?
Not altogether.
Oh, no? Didn't Runyon come to see you? Didn't Frank James hang him up in the closet? Huh. Suppose you'll be telling me next that Frank James is really dead.
I could hardly tell you that. I talked to him last night.
You saw him? That murderer, and you didn't turn him in? Young lady, you're going back to college tomorrow. I've had enough of your nonsense. My daughter mixed up with murderers.
Papa, I've got to go to Liberty, Missouri.
You bet you do. What? What's that?
Did you read a story in your paper about a Negro named Pinky who's going to be hanged in a few days as an accomplice in the express robbery?
Yes, yes. What about it?
Well, he's innocent and...
What's that got to do with you? Have you gone out of your mind? How do you know he's innocent?
If you'll stop standing on your head and sit down, I'll tell you how I know and why I've got to go to Liberty.
Makes good eating. Wild hen, don't it?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it didn't get the fine cooking Pinky here to give it.
I can't do it, Clem.
Can't do what?
Can't go on.
What's the matter? You sick?
Yeah, sick inside. In a few days, they'll be hanging Pinky. Hanging him for something he didn't do. Must have been crazy. Going back, Clem.
And let Bob Ford get away?
Let Bob Ford get away.
Well, you can't do it, Frank. You can't. After all our work, are we going to give up on account of a darky?
We're going, Clem.
It ain't Pinky making you do this. It's that girl in Denver. You got her in your mind more than you have Bob Ford.
In a few seconds, you're going to have an awful sore seat, son.
Maybe I am. But what would Jessie think if he knew you were walking out on her?
That's enough, Clem.
I guess she's afraid you're going to get hurt. Oh, don't go, Frank. That poor Ford...
I'm going, Clem, and I'm going alone.
Frank! Can I go with you?
Suit yourself.
What you doing that for?
We're honest men, Clem.
Yeah, but 'tain't a fair swap. Well, I can get...
Maybe you could, son. Maybe you could. But we got no time for trading talk. Pick out a couple of good head. Hey, stranger. How much you figure an outfit like this is worth?
Oh, about $500 or $600.
Here's $600. I'll throw in the horses. Come on, Clem.
Anything wrong? No. Except that outfit don't belong to me.
When's the next through train east?
Just missed it. Won't be another till tomorrow.
It's no good. We got to be in Kansas City tomorrow.
Well, you can make up your mind you ain't gonna be.
Those trains there.
Them's freights. All except number 8. That's fast mail.
Due in a few minutes, ain't it?
Yeah. But it don't even whistle going through here.
You can flag it, can't you?
What, flag number 8? What for? It don't carry passengers. Only mail and fast express.
You're gonna flag it tonight, partner. Come on, get your lantern. Come on, get going, get going.
Yes, sir. I guess you know you can be arrested for this. Federal offense, stopping a mail train.
Yeah, we know. Go on, go on.
I'm going. Take it easy. Engineer's gonna be mighty surprised. Mail ain't stopped here in the 10 years it's been running.
Keep swinging, brother, keep swinging.
Yes, sir.
What's the matter?
Holy smoke, it's a holdup.
It ain't a holdup. We just want to ride with you. Get going. Don't stop till you get to Kansas City, no matter what. Get in the cab with them, Clem. Hold her open, brother. I'm coming in with you.
Sorry, miss, but there ain't no reason.
But there is a reason. A good reason. Frank James is liable to come in any day now. And when he does, you'll hear the truth from his own lips.
I see. So you want us to hold up the hanging while Frank is out murdering another man?
No, I want you to wait to keep from murdering a man. Pinky's not guilty. I know it, and I think you know it, too. What harm would there be in postponing?
What for? To give Frank James a chance to raise a gang? And raid the jail like he did once before?
That's it. That's what the scheme is, and you're part of it.
You're a fool, McCoy, and a dad's black liar. Liar and sneaky little coward to boot. You couldn't get at Frank, so you're striking at him through his poor helpless Negro boy. You and your perjured witnesses in this weak
There's nothing to be done here. Come on,
Why,
baby.
for 2 cents, I'd take you out and shoot you down like a dog, you dad blasted Yankee scum.
I couldn't stay. In an hour, it'll all be over. I want to be as far away as I can.
I understand, my dear, and I'm sorry.
It's all right, Major. You've been very kind. But I'll never understand your people.
No, you'd have to live among us a long time to do that. Now, don't think too badly of Frank. You see, he and I and all of us around here, well, we've been brought up to right our own wrongs, regardless of everything.
And what about the wrong being done, Pinky? If you ever see Frank James again, tell him I think he's low and contemptible. Only a selfish brute would let an innocent man die. Well, goodbye, Major, and
Goodbye, my dear.
thank you again.
Frank! Did you get him?
No.
Oh, the dirty, rotten coward.
I knew you'd come.
Did you?
Yes. Behind all my doubts, there was always a feeling that...
Put him up, Frank. And keep him up.
So you finally got out of that closet, all right?
Oh, yes. And now let's see you get out of a rope around your neck. Put him on.
Going to an awful lot of bother, ain't you?
Oh, no bother. It's a pleasure. A real pleasure. Where's that young friend of yours?
Hiding out, but I just can't remember where.
I see. All right. Get along.
Frank.
Good morning, Miss Stone.
I'm sorry, miss, but this table is reserved for reporters.
But I am a reporter. I represent the Denver Star.
Denver Star?
Mr. Rennie.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
This case? Came too late, Frank, if you want to get another lawyer. I haven't practiced in 9 to 20 years, not since I took over the Gazette, and I may be a mite rusty.
Rusty or not, you can do as much for me as any other lawyer. I reckon that ain't hardly anything at all.
Maybe so. Maybe so. But we ain't quitting. McCoy and that gosh ding Yankee prosecutor of his will be breathing mighty heavy before I'm through with them.
Order in the court. Order in the court. Everybody stand. Court is now in session. Hear ye.
That ain't the regular judge, is it?
No, that's Ferris. They brought him on from St. Louis.
Just to make sure, huh?
Be seated. Your Honor, the case on the docket is number 4358. State of Missouri versus Frank James.
You may proceed.
Not only did he rob the express office, but we will prove, beyond the slightest peradventure of a doubt, that the defendant, Frank James, in keeping with his long, murderous career...
I object! The defendant's out on trial in this court for a long murderous career, and the more than the prosecuting attorney is charged with being in the pay of the St. Louis Midland Railway.
I resent the innuendo.
Then stick to the charges in the indictment.
I'm not asking you, sir.
Gentlemen, gentlemen. Now, gentlemen, I propose to have this trial conducted in a quiet and orderly manner. The prosecutor will confine himself to the matter contained in the true bill, and you, sir, will refrain from personalities. The jury will ignore the exchange between counsel. We are not concerned with crimes other than those mentioned in the indictment, and we certainly are not concerned with the railroad associations of the prosecuting attorney.
I object, Your Honor. There have been no associations.
I am not aware that I have said there were. You may proceed.
The state will prove that not only did the defendant rob the express office, but also that he shot down the watchman Wilson in cold blood. The state calls its first witness, Sheriff Daniels.
Sheriff Daniels.
You say Frank James admitted robbing the express office?
Yes, he did, and before witnesses.
I didn't ask you before whom. You just answer my questions. That'll be enough of a strain on that giant intellect of yours. Did Frank James also admit killing the watchman?
No.
He denied it?
Yes. He said Dan was killed by a shot from the outside.
How long you been sheriff?
2 years.
Before that, what'd you do?
I object, Your Honor. What possible bearing can the former occupation of the witness have on this trial?
I see no objection to the question. You may answer.
I was in charge of special police.
Who for?
St. Louis Midland Railway.
Louder and speak to the jury.
St. Louis Midland Railway.
That's all?
Your Honor, I must take exception to this line of questioning. My learned opponent, in his desperation, is trying to make it appear that the railroad company, and not the state of Missouri, is prosecuting this defendant.
The court is under no deception.
Oh, of that I'm quite certain. But that there be no doubt in the minds of the jury, I'm about to produce 5 witnesses, none of whom is connected even remotely with the Midland, who were present when Frank James confessed.
Ain't necessary. We admit Frank James robbed the express office.
That's the case. Yep. Thought the major would talk about duress or something.
Or at least make the state prove it.
Certainly.
What are you doing here?
I had to come. Anyhow, there ain't no sense in me hiding out. Nobody's worrying about me. How's it going in there?
Not so well.
Suppose it'd do Frank any good if I was to tell him the robbery was my idea?
No. No, there's nothing you or I or anybody can do. We've just got to wait and hope.
Yeah? Well, we wouldn't be doing no hoping or waiting if it wasn't for you. Why don't you leave Frank alone? What'd you have to keep after him for? If you hadn't have stuck your nose in it, we'd have got Bob Ford. Nobody would have got Frank. Now, on account of you, they're going to hang him.
Raise your right hand, place your left hand on the Bible. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Sit down.
You're Frank James.
No doubt about that.
Why are you here?
Why?
Yeah, you weren't captured. You weren't brought in on the fugitive warrant.
Come in.
In other words, you were here voluntarily, eh? As far as the state's concerned, you might still be at large.
I object. That is the conclusion. Objection sustained. The witness will not be asked to speculate. You may proceed.
You came in voluntarily. Why?
Well, it was aiming to swing Pinky for something he didn't do, something he didn't even know anything about, so I figured...
So you figured you'd risk your own neck to save the life of a poor, innocent old darky.
Your Honor, I must protest. I must protest, Your Honor. The witness isn't being asked to give testimony. He's being led into argument.
The point is well taken. But when a man is on trial for his life, the court is inclined to give wide latitude to the defense. Now, take it easy, Major. You'll have plenty of opportunity to make arguments. You needn't do it through the witness.
I stand rebuked, Your Honor. You did rob the express office, didn't you?
Reckon I did.
Mm-hmm. What'd you do with the money?
Used it hunting the Fords?
No other purpose?
No. It was McCoy money got Jesse murdered, so I took McCoy...
Your Honor. Major, I want to be fair with you. In fact, I've been leaning over backwards to be fair. But...
It's all right, Your Honor. I'm finished with the witness. McCoy can have him. I mean McCoy's man. No, doggone it. I mean the prosecuting attorney. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but my tongue got twisted.
You say you didn't kill the watchman, Wilson.
Had no reason.
You always need a reason for killing?
Don't you?
I am not on trial. Your accomplice could have shot Wilson, couldn't he?
Yeah, could have. But he didn't. Shot from the outside, got Wilson.
I suggest that you caused the death of the watchman, either directly or by using him as a shield in making your escape.
Can't arrest you for suggesting, but 'tain't so.
Tell me, just where was the watchman Wilson when he was hit?
Well, let me see. I think he...
Never mind what you think. Where was he?
Sorry, I can't talk without thinking, not being a lawyer.
Your name is Breckinridge Jackson?
Colonel Breckinridge Jackson, sir.
Well, Colonel Jackson. You say that you've known Frank James for many years.
Are you doubting my word, sir?
I merely asked you a question, sir.
I answered for my friend, the Major. And you, sir, were in a room at the same time. Are you deaf?
My hearing is perfectly good.
Very well. Then I advise you, sir, to pay attention to what's going on in this here courtroom.
Please answer all questions put to you directly and without discussion. As a character witness...
I shall do as you wish, sir. There's no favor I can refuse the man who led the courageous attack at Ball's Bluff.
All right. But let's get on.
Very well, sir. What do you want to know, Yankee?
Now, Colonel.
When did you first meet Frank James?
As a boy, 14 or 15, when he first joined up.
You mean when he joined Quantrell's guerrillas?
Guerrillas? Did I hear you say guerrillas?
I believe they're generally known as such.
Only to those who cravenly fled before them. The finest cavalry in the war, sir. The flower of Southern horse. Why, at the Battle of Three Oaks, they charged their way through...
Let's get on with the trial.
Am I to tolerate insults to the South?
Well, I don't feel insulted. The next question.
I did have a number of questions to ask this witness, Your Honor. But rather than refight the entire rebellion...
Rebellion, did you say, sir? If you are by any chance referring to the late unpleasantness between the states, that, sir, was a war for the Southern Confederacy.
That isn't what they call it where I come from.
Well, that's what this court calls it, and let the record so show. You may proceed.
State rests.
Yankee.
As to the robbery itself, I need say nothing. Frank James admits that with an unknown accomplice, he broke into the express office, cracked open the strongbox, and escaped with the contents. May I assume that even my learned opponent will agree that breaking into a place and robbing it is a punishable offense.
Go on, talk to the jury. They have to listen to you.
But Frank James' crime did not end with robbery. There was murder as well. Foul, bloody murder. Murder that cries aloud for justice against its perpetrator. Frank James killed the watchman Wilson. And you, as honest men, will see that he pays for his crime at the end of the rope.
It's all my fault.
I wouldn't feel that way about it if I was you. After all, you only did what you thought was right.
When I talked to Frank in Denver, I was thinking only of an innocent man condemned to death. I didn't think that perhaps I was sending Frank to his death. What business was it of mine?
Now listen, Frank's not going to his death. 10 years, I figure, maybe 15.
If I only hadn't persuaded him.
My dear, I'm afraid you're overcalculating your powers of persuasion. You figured it was your persuasion that made him come in, don't you, huh? Well, you're mistaken. He'd have come in, and when he did, even if he'd never met you...
You're saying that to make me feel better.
No, I'm not. I'm saying it because it's the truth. Frank would never have let Pinky die. You see, I know him better than you do. Well, it's time to be getting back to court. Come along. You see, Frank had only one thought, to avenge the cowardly murder of his brother Jesse. But to get on the track of the Fords, he needed money, and he had none. You boys know how rich you get working a rocky Ozark farm. So in desperation, and only as a last resort, did Frank turn to robbery. But let us see. Did he rob a bank containing the thrifty savings of the poor? No. Did he rob an honest shopkeeper? No. He took money from the railroad that had caused the death of his mother and his brother. The railroad that stole your lands and drove you from your farms. The railroad...
I object! Your objection is well taken. Now, let me remind you, Major, again. The St. Louis Midland is not on trial in this court.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Now just try and forget what I said about the railroad. And there is no evidence whatsoever that Wilson, the night watchman, was killed by a bullet from a .44. There is more than a reasonable doubt about it, since even the autopsy surgeon himself couldn't tell. Now, this is the weapon Frank James had when he surrendered, and the weapon he has always carried. I know, because I gave it to him myself the day he went to join Quantrell. You see the initials on it, FJ, and the date. Here, see, here.
This is very irregular, Your Honor. The evidence is in.
Let him proceed.
Your Honor. Now, this weapon of Frank's has a very interesting history. Yes, sir, right from the start. His first bullets were fired at those dad-blasted Kansas Jayhawkers when they come a-raiding here. You remember that, don't you, Ira? Next, this weapon was used on the sneaking, thieving Yankees that burned Hickoryville. Saved your barn and your horses, eh, Luke?
What are we trying here, Frank James or his gun?
This is also the weapon that stampeded the blasted bluebellies at Three Oaks and cleared Clay County forever of the pesky invaders.
Now tell them how many innocent men that gun laid low.
There is no innocent blood on this weapon. I'm proud of every bullet fired from it. This weapon... I'm sorry, Your Honor. I didn't know it was loaded.
Perhaps your client didn't either when he fired at the watchman.
And if the jury believe that any witness has willfully sworn falsely to any material fact, the jury is at liberty to discard and disregard the testimony of such witness. And in determining the credibility of any witness, the jury may take into consideration his or her moral character, as disclosed by the evidence developed at the trial. And if, on account of his or her moral turpitude or other criminal acts, if any, the jury regard him or her as untrustworthy of belief, they are at liberty to disregard and reject the whole of such testimony, although a part of his other testimony may be corroborated by other evidence in the case. Fifth,
what's he doing?
The jury is instructed that by the statutes of the
What's
state,
he
the
doing
defendant...
Guess he wants to be in at the kill.
That is the law, gentlemen. And here are the facts. The defendant admits, yes, freely admits, that he robbed the express office.
Not now, son, not now.
Thus, your duty as to that count in the indictment is plain. As to the defendant's reasons for robbing the express office, you will attach no weight to them whatever. As to whether murder was committed in the course of the robbery, that you will determine by the evidence. But bear this in mind. No matter what has been said in this courtroom, you and you only are the final judges of the guilt or innocence of the defendant. The jury will now retire to its deliberations.
Maybe not murder, but there's no question of a conviction on the robbery charge. I wish, though, that Bob Ford hadn't come here.
Your Honor.
Yes?
Do we have to leave the box?
Not if you've reached a verdict.
We have, Your Honor.
And what is the verdict?
We find the defendant, Frank James, not guilty of anything.
That bastard Yankees, we licked them. Let go of him, you lunkheads. Keep cool, son, keep cool.
Please, please. You're free, Frank, free. You can do as you please, go where you want. If you kill him, you'll have to stand trial again. You mustn't, Frank. You mustn't.
I got to.
Frank, if you ever want to see me again.
Bob Ford! They got him! They got him!
I tried to get him for you, Frank. But appears like he got me. I think I plugged him too. But I ain't sure. If I was, I wouldn't feel so bad.
Anybody getting a doctor?
He's coming.
Frank,
Yeah?
I guess you and Pinky can take care of the farm.
No, we can't, Clem. We gotta have you. We need you for the harvesting. Ain't a man in the county can do a day's work like you. We gotta have you.
All right, Frank. But I'm awful tired. Maybe if I rest up a bit.
Buck up, son. You can't go to sleep now. You got a job to do. Clem. Anybody see which way Ford went?
Yeah, he ducked in that livery barn over there.
coming out or am I coming in? That's the other one, Jesse.
In granting a full pardon to Frank James, he has shown himself to be a man who acts in full accord with the wishes of the people. Anybody who don't vote for him at the next election ought to be taken out
and shot down like a dog.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, and put it on the front page in 12-point boldface.
I don't suppose you'll ever get out to Denver again.
Oh, can't tell. Mighty pretty country around there. Yeah, it kind of does something to you to see the sun come up mornings over the mountains. Yep, there's lots I like about Denver.
I'm glad. Bye.
Bye.